Boop. Chat room. We've done a thing. Generally, I haven't been one to like buy. Hey, Chewy, how you doing? I haven't been one to like buy unnecessary things outside of computers. This is technically a computing device, though, so we can give it to me, right? I used to buy a lot of arcade sticks. Why are you in my room? Does your room have a blue light? I hope you're okay. I hope you're well and enjoy the stream. Yeah, I'm having a great time. Thank you so much for stopping by. So TY for the gift. It's up. Now you're full screen. So I bought myself a retro gaming handheld console. This is the Anbernic RG35XXPro. Their name scheme is really stupid. The XX devices all have the exact same chip, and they just have different screens and form factors for anyone who's wondering, but they all have the propensity to use the same kinds of custom firmwares. This one currently has one called Cannuli. I think it's called Newly, but I just wanted to be a dickhead. The stock firmware isn't terrible. I've seen videos of the stock firmware, but when I got this, it already had Newly on it, which I think was really good. It's got a full set of buttons, even though for most of the retro consoles you won't need them. It has L2, R2, L1, R1, and then it has, or yeah, I said that right. And then it has all 4 face buttons, though most games will probably only need 2, at least for what I'm using it for. 2 analog sticks that feel like Nintendo Switch style. They don't feel amazing, but they're not the worst analog sticks I've ever felt, especially on a device that's like $50. And then a really, really good D-pad. This thing is super nice. I bought this about a week ago. I didn't have it because as soon as I got it, unfortunately, it got stolen from me. This is how you know that this device and devices like these truly do appeal to older casual gamers or younger casual gamers that you're trying to get into video games. My girlfriend asked me, does it have Mario on it? And then we found Super Mario World for the Game Boy Advance. I believe it's Super Mario Advance 2. And she didn't put it down for a week. I only recently got this back. In between her sessions of playing, I got in maybe an hour, 2 hours of Pokemon. I'm currently at a 2 hour and 50-minute save file. I was in the Viridian Forest for 45 minutes of that, literally looking for a male Pikachu. I save stated at a female one and caught it, never found a male. I am officially out of the Viridian Forest and have beaten Brock. This will mostly be, for me, a GBA style console, but it does have a 4x3 screen, which means that you can also use it for older retro consoles like the PlayStation 1, the Nintendo 64. It will run some Nintendo 64, the NES, the Super NES, the Sega Genesis. All of those consoles will run great on here. But if you ask me which library I think you should invest the most in, find ROMs for, put ROMs into your folders, legally acquired, by the way, though some of these do come with ROMs, they probably shouldn't. You'll be looking for Game Boy Advance. Game Boy Advance, if you're looking for retro consoles, especially the 16-bit and 32-bit era, it has the best games. It just has like all of the games. My boy Vim hook you up. Oh, really? He knows where to find all of those legally acquirable Game Boy Advance ROMs. Does he know where to find Dragon Ball Z Supersonic Warriors and Dragon Ball Z Legacy of Boo? Or I think it's called. He sure does. Oh, hell yeah. There's a lot of games I want to play through on here. And something like this is about as small as your phone. This is a Samsung Galaxy S23 FE. It's not a very big phone. It's not particularly an old phone, though. And this thing comfortably fits inside of the same screen. Let me move it over here so you guys can see it on the Twitch side as well. Comfortably the same size, if not a little bit bigger, a little smaller than my phone, but thicker. That is something to think about. It's thicker than a phone. I do still consider this a pocketable device, especially banana for scale. Yeah, 1 second. Let me just... Oh, man. Sorry. So this thing, I don't know if a banana will fit in most people's pockets, but this will fit in the pants pocket of like a nice pair of jeans that aren't too tight, the cargo shorts, khaki shorts. This could even fit in the back pocket on the other side of your phone if you put your wallet in your front pocket. This thing is very pocketable. It's easy to turn on. It's just a button here at the top. You just press it once. It gets you right into the firmware. Ask me if that's a banana in my pocket. Not after that, I won't. It gets you right into the firmware. If you go back, you'll see that you have your favorites tab. Maybe there's a way I can let me turn off this ring light real quick. There we go. Let me turn off that ring light so this is easier to see. As you see there, you can see favorites. I wish I could get this closer. There we go. Look at that. Favorites, Nintendo Entertainment System or the Famicom for you Japanese players. The Game Boy. Game Boy is 10 by 9, so there's going to be big borders. I can probably show you guys some stuff. Here's Super Nintendo. Game Boy Color, also 10 by 9, I believe. And then, like I said, Game Boy Advance, right? There's even the Sega Mega Drive. And that's all that's in here, right? You could load up other ROMs and get the other emulators because generally most of these just have RetroArch, and RetroArch has all of the easy files for stuff like PlayStation 1. I don't know if you'd have to use a standalone emulator for Dreamcast. You might have to use a standalone emulator for something like Dreamcast and Nintendo 64. But I know that PS1 and PSP are in the RetroArch. I believe they're in the RetroArch platform now, and you just need BIOS files for those games. But it's very comfortable in the hands. As you see here, I'm 6'2". This is a big fucking hand. For scale, here's a Lenovo Legion Go. Here, look, we can use this for scale. I guess I can show this as scale, actually. That was a good idea. One, there I am, Beanieception, because I'm using this to read YouTube chat. No one's chatted in YouTube. I guess everyone on YouTube hates me today. This thing is fucking huge. But so is my hand. Okay? You guys see that? For scale, here it is. Significantly smaller than my hand, but my hand wraps around it pretty well, right? Comfortably, I can hold it. I won't be using these back triggers for anything really because of the fact that generally the back triggers will just be like loading save states or fast forward, rewind, things like that. Especially in Game Boy Advance, you only have L and R. You don't have L2 and R2. Those two buttons just don't exist, which once again, I don't think is a bad thing. I think that things like this are perfect. Like I haven't, look, man. Well, there's a lot of games in here, but we don't want to talk about the other games in here. I don't care about these. We're in Game Boy Advance, and let's go to Pokemon Fire Red. Look, there it is. Fire Red. Press A on that. It loads straight into the game, and if you have a save file already, you can save directly to the device. Some of these devices, unfortunately, especially like cheaper ones, right? You actually can't save to the device, and you're stuck using save states constantly. This one, as you guys see there, maybe you can't see because the screen is too bright. How do I turn the brightness down? Is it home plus down? Whoa, what did I just do? I don't want to fuck something up. It was saying I have like a bajillion save slots. Let's go settings. Video settings? No. This is newly, so it's different from the stock firmware. I'm actually just trying to find the... I don't see the brightness settings. I wanted to turn the brightness down, unfortunately. But I don't know where to do that. I'm actually a little stupid. Power management. Oh, I thought it would be in there. Configuration. No, it's not in there. Cores, playlists, drivers, frame throttle, input. User interface. Surely it's in user interface. It's not in user interface. Anyways, this is the newly menu that you're seeing right here. Maybe you can see that menu. You can't see the super blown out screen once we get out of this though. But it is a save file. It's right there. Let me see if I can. There we go. Boop. Look at that. There's actually a save file with almost 3 hours of time. Like I had said, yeah, I use my actual name. His name's not Red, bitch. I'm the Pokemon trainer, so it's me. And then Gary's not Gary. I named him Willow because his grandpa's name is Oak. You get it? Because they're both trees. I was gonna name him Teak, but that seemed really fucking stupid. Or Mahogany, but that was too long. Anyways, I've been using this mostly for Game Boy Advance. Super Mario World or Super Mario Advance 2. The Sonic Advance games are on here, or you can load them up yourself. Once again, legally acquired ROMs. All of the Game Boy Pokemon games, Game Boy Advance Pokemon games will run just fine on here. If you're looking for something small as like a gift or a time waster handheld, I shouldn't say a time waster, a time saver handheld. Instead of doom scrolling on the internet, you could instead be playing retro games on something this small that you can pull out at the grocery store while you're waiting in line after you've already put all your groceries on the conveyor belt or the whatever it would be called, the grocery belt, waiting for the cashier to get to you. Or you're waiting in line for your super sick, nasty McDonald's meal after you've already put in your order at the kiosk because there's not even cashiers anymore while the world has gone to shit. Eventually we'll have Flippy, and now even humans will be replaced by your burger fryer. But what will be eternal is emulation and ROMs. So if you can find your access to some ROMs, this thing does have 2 card slots. One card slot is for the operating system, And the operating system doesn't take up all the space, which means you can save some number of ROMs onto this card if you don't use a smaller one. It comes with the 64 gigabyte naturally, but say you buy one of these bare bones, you could always load up that firmware onto the card. You could put that onto it using a computer that has an SD card or a micro SD card slot. Luckily for me, once again, my Lenovo Legion Go, this huge fucking monster, has a micro SD card slot, which means I can do it. Look at the size difference here. Wow, that's fucked up. I'm trying to see if I can also get my camera to refocus. Can you stop being racist, camera? Hello? Racist camera? Hello? Well, I guess we're just going to be blurry for the rest of this part of the stream, which is very unfortunate. I do like this little thing. I haven't actually had much time to use it up until now. Once again, technically, I've only played it about 3 hours, but my girlfriend had it long enough that if there was going to be a problem with it, she would have accidentally encountered it. She's not like super tech savvy, and she's especially not like retro emulation game savvy. But she got into the game. She got the game saved. I showed her how to make a save stage in case something went wrong, because something unfortunately did go wrong, and we both lost progress. I lost progress with my Pokemon. I had a boy Pikachu. I lost it. I have a girl now. Oh well. I'd already beat Brock. I'd already got the running shoes. Had to do it again, which I guess so. I played like 5 hours because I'm at 3. I probably did that 2 hours in, and she was almost completely done with Super Mario World. Now she's back at like 53 stars when she had like 80. She had a lot of stars. She was almost done with the game. She's very upset. I don't know if it's stars or whatever Super Mario World is. I don't remember. I'm not that old. She kept trying to hand me Super Mario World like I was going to be able to beat it for her. I'm a 3D platformer guy, not a 2D platformer guy. I don't remember most of those old games, but they're on here, and if you're older than me, you'll probably enjoy them. If you're younger than me and you're being introduced to gaming, and you don't want to be introduced to gaming through live service games like Fortnite or Rocket League or Roblox, which has a wealth of games, but they're not all very high quality, something like this that can fit in your pocket, that you could take around with you, and you can beat it up because it's only $50 to $60. It's about the same amount as a controller for modern consoles, but you can load it up with thousands of games. Thousands. Some of the greatest games of all time can be loaded onto here, like Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, like Pokemon Fire Red, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Not even to talk about the fact that this can have the original Mario Kart and the Game Boy Advance version, Mario Kart Super Circuit. This thing's pretty snazzy. I'm not trying to sell you on a product. I'm trying to sell you on an idea. If you've thought about looking into retro emulation, I do think the Anbernics are a good place to start, especially the XX line, because they're all tried and true. You can look up any YouTube video by someone like TechDweeb or The Fox or Retro Game Core, Russ, right? You could look up any of those guys, and they'll have basically every Anbernic on there. So if there's a certain form factor you're looking at, and you want to know if it'll play the games of the generation that is shaped the most like, that's shaped like a Game Boy, plays tons of Game Boy games, no problem. You see the one like the RG Arc that's shaped like the Game Gear? It will play Game Gear games. Oh yeah, you can play Game Gear games on this too. Did I not mention that? I forgot about the Game Gear. Anyways, this is a great little device, and I think emulation's super cool, especially with how we're going in the direction of an all-digital future for gaming consoles. So if you miss some of those old games, if you're nostalgic for some of those old games, or you want to show those old games to a new generation of kids, a new generation of your family that maybe didn't get to experience them, you could try to find original hardware and get a Game Boy Advance SP or a Nintendo DS and actually actually have the carts, but they're getting more expensive. They're getting more rare. Those are likely to break. An emulator is just some files. If it breaks, you find the files again. Or you keep the files on a server, so if the files break on device, you can just move them from device to device to device. This has been mostly like a yapping about retro emulation and how this device fits me and how I feel about it. But I recommend this one. I don't know if I can recommend all of them. I really want the flip one. There's one that looks like a Game Boy Advance SP. I recommend that one too, because it's got its own case. It just closes right up. It closes on itself. So you don't need like a case. I'm actually very scared to just like throw this into my backpack. That's one thing I'll say. Yeah, it's only $50, $55, but it can break. I could throw this into my backpack. I have a laptop. I have Legion Go in there. I have a myriad of chargers. I have Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon deck boxes. And they could just jam right into the screen, even with the screen protector on, and maybe crack the screen protector or break a button or any myriad of things like knock the thumbsticks off, which I'll never use. And I don't really want any of those things to happen. So if you do get one of these, I guess get a case or make sure it's the only thing in your bag in its own pocket or something. Or get the SP versions. There's a 35XX and there's a 34XX SP. Man, these names, the naming scheme for these is fucking terrible. I know that the Pro models have Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, so you can download ROMs onto it yourself. And they also have multiplayer for games that would have supported it, like the Game Boy Advance, as long as the other device also is Wi-Fi enabled. That is very neat. RetroArch is super cool for that. And if you can log in, you can also do retro achievements, just like people who used to platinum games in PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and currently PlayStation 5 days. That is super duper sick. This has been a little crash course review, a little first impressions of the Anbernic RG35XXPro, which I have newly on, which is a custom operating system. I didn't really show you guys much of the operating system, but if you get one of these, it'll probably, especially from their website, it'll have the stock operating system. It'll work just fine. I just think Newly was really cool, so I was like, oh yeah, we'll just do that. Anyways, this has been Beanie Thuggish for the YouTubes, yapping about retro handhelds. Hoping that you'll subscribe. I would love to make it to 1,000 subscribers eventually so I can make that mucho dinero on YouTube. Signing out and saying peace.